Knicks looking for 4 in a row and looking for revenge. But this Heat defense was swarming all night, would not give the Knicks any good looks, and it was a knockdown, drag-out fight. But the Knicks would still take a 7-point lead into the third, led by the second unit of D. Rose and Emmanuel Quickley. But in the third quarter, it was Jimmy time. Jimmy Butler erupts for 15 third quarter points. Heat win 98-88. Knicks just could not get it done tonight. I hate losing to Miami Heat, man. No matter who they have, no matter what year it is, I don't care what it is. As long as Pat Riley's still in charge of that team, it's still a rival, still a team that I absolutely hate. And we get swept. Season sweep.
This is one of those games that, like CP said, you do not want to lose for many reasons. I mean, yes, they're right behind us in that playoff hunt. Yes, it's the damn Miami Heat. And yes, it was in the Garden. It was the trifecta that we did not want to happen tonight. And it was a tough loss. To me, you know, one of the bigger things that was that I really caught my eye was Julius Randle. I feel like he really picked it up in that second half, but he didn't look all the way 100.
No.
You know what I mean? And I don't know if we're going to talk about that today, but that was definitely something that's poked out of me. But yet another game of the zone that we struggle with, but Miami Heat take us out, and I hate saying that.
Yeah, Julius did come back from the thigh contusion. Really didn't look like himself. Was dragging that leg clearly, especially in the first half. He was really laboring on it, and I think it impacted him on both ends, especially on the defensive end. Miami was able to, have their way against him. Got a lot of hustle plays against him, a lot of second chance rebounds and things of that nature. He just wasn't the same. He gave it his all. I thought he got out, but clearly wasn't healthy.
And the one thing about Miami, and I saw this in the game tonight, is that one, they have a lot of talent. You can't deny that. You see it on the court. But tonight it was interesting because it came in spurts. And that has to be attributed to the Knicks have a solid defense, top 5 in the NBA. But here's where it gets tricky. Because our offense can't technically compete with a team as deep as the Miami Heat, what you have to do is take advantage of what they give you, right? So there were instances in this game where Miami went cold. You look especially in the first half, their shots weren't falling. There was a lot of time for the Knicks to go ahead and strike while the iron was hot, and we did not take advantage. We kind of were playing into their pace instead of setting the pace. So then what you do, eventually shooters get hot, and it comes in spurts, and you saw that in the third quarter, a quarter that Miami usually is very lethargic in. They actually played exceptionally well in tonight. Then in the fourth, you just let the gates of hell wide open.
You know, this Heat defense has once again been masterful by Spoelstra. Give credit where it's due. For the third time this season in their matchup, Spoelstra has had the right answer for this Knicks offense. An offense that likes to get to the paint, an offense that likes to drive. Whether it's Peyton, whether it's RJ, whether it's Julius, they're still a top 5 defense in this league. They're still the number 1 defense in terms of points in the paint. And opponent field goals made, opponent's field goal percentage. They're in the top 3 in all 3 of those categories. So this defense is they're fast, they're flexible, they play loose, and they swarm. They put a lot of pressure on our ball handlers. They did it for the third game now against this team, and the Knicks just did not have the proper adjustments to really counter it. So they were the aggressors. Knicks had to kind of take their foot off the pedal. Then Duncan Robinson starts going off. You have Hero start going off. So their 3-point shooters, as you said, Ash, start to go off. And it was just tough, man. Knicks get outscored in the second half, 62-45, including a 39-point third quarter for the Heat. So that was just hard to come back from.
So every team has a strong suit. For the Knicks right now, it's the defense. You could even see in a lot of the shots. First of all, we were allowed them to take too many threes uncontested. They had all the time in the world to take shots. The Knicks were just too focused on trying to play the 3 game, and you can't compete with that. Like I said, when you don't have the shooters, and I know people in the chat are going to, complain about the rotations and things like that. You can rotate it, you can flip it, you can reverse it, you can put it back, you can put it forth, upside. You just don't have the depth. You can't compete with what you don't have. The rotations necessarily wouldn't have mattered. But you're supposed to work with what you do have, and the Knicks didn't play their game.
Their runs were way better than ours because it was that one that you just talked about. We also had a nice little run in that fourth quarter where it looked like we were making a little I don't want to bring this term back because we're playing better this year, but we had a little bit of a fake comeback from the Knicks. That was a throwback that we used to do all the time in the fourth quarter. And we had one of those in this game where it seemed like, we were trying to figure it out. Julius Randle was starting to heat up after having such a rough first half. But yeah, man, Miami Heat just on both ends, they're poised, man. Like it's crazy, and I hate it. I hate how well oiled they always come out to come out against us, and it always irritates the hell out of me. I don't care who they have on that team.
Always,
LeBron
man.
James,
Yeah.
no LeBron James. Jimmy Butler, no Jimmy Butler. Like whoever was on that team, they always well oiled when they play against us, and it pisses me off every single time.
If you look at the differences, Coach Spo will go into the game with a certain, game plan. He has a certain way that he wants to go ahead and construct this game. But basketball is a game of runs and possessions. And as the game continues and as you start seeing the runs and the possessions, sometimes you have to change your game plan because that's not working with the current pace of the game. But the difference with Tibbs is he will try to ram his rotations and his game plan down your throat and make it work. And it's essentially trying to put, a square into a triangle peg. It's not going to fit right now. We got to do something else. And I think that's the difference in the coaching, at least in this game. And from what we've seen from Tibbs in a few other games this season, a lot of games this season. And that's one of my biggest critiques of him.
If you guys saw Court Vision, the episode that we did on Court Vision, I made sure, on top of RJ's good, I made sure to highlight the 2 games against the Heat because their adjustments, their game plan against him was the same thing that we saw here tonight. He went 1 for 6 in the first game against them. 5 for 14 in the second game, 4 for 12 tonight, 10 for 32 overall for RJ Barrett. And here was the difference. Here's how they played him and all the Knicks guards. What they want to do is they want to blitz that pick and roll. Whether it's RJ, whether it's Peyton, they want to blitz that pick and roll and force them outside of the perimeter. And this is what you saw from them all night tonight. They want to force those guards outside the perimeter, make them make tough adjustments, and force you to make tough shots in the perimeter. The Knicks are just not a good team in terms of pull-up jump shots, in terms of jump shots off the dribble. And this is what they do. They swarm. They swarm in the paint, and they blitz you on the pick and roll. And this is what RJ saw tonight once again. They gave him no room to move, and they forced him into some bad shots. They forced Bullock into a ton of bad shots tonight as well, but we won't even take it there. But, this is what the Heat do. And whether it's RJ, whether it's Peyton, whether it's Derrick Rose, they're going to blitz the ball handlers on the pick and roll and make them make a decision. So what the Knicks are going to have to do, they're going to have to make quick decisions. You need a guy inside the middle of the paint that you can get it to, where he can break down the defense from there. But the Knicks they couldn't get that tonight. And that overall takes you out of your flow and prohibits a lot of the stuff that they like to do. RJ, Peyton, Randle, that's their bread and butter. They want to get into the paint. They want to drive into the paint. When we set those pick and rolls, they're not playing it to pass. These guys are trying to get to the hole. They're trying to drive to the paint and get a bucket. And the Heat, they blitz it. It's a sellout type of defense on the pick and roll. And they say, you guys got to beat us on the perimeter. And we know that this Knicks team, this Knicks starting unit, is just not a good half-court unit.
And another key player, I don't know if you're moving on to that next, but another key player, too, that we've been talking about for the past, 4 or 5 games, Alec Burks. Only 4 shots tonight. That was something I didn't like. I don't know if you want to attest that to the defense. I don't know if you want to attest that to the rotation. Whatever you want to put that on, for someone who's been so important for us offensively, especially in a night like tonight where we needed offense. 4 shots. Wasn't a big fan of that. Was not a big fan of that. Like I said, there was a lot of instances where I saw that the Heat were on top of him, wouldn't let him get to his spots on offense, so he wasn't getting those shots up. But at the same time, I feel like we weren't really working hard enough to get him the shots that we needed. Instead, we were settling from some other shots that just made absolutely no sense in the offense.
Noel just off of dead whistle, trying to put back a slam, he almost tears his shoulder out. I thought we lost him in the first quarter. So I was like, damn, call Boogie right away. We need somebody, man, because, with Taj being up there in age, Noel just not, just being, susceptible to injuries. I think we need another piece there just for some reinforcements because Mitch had foot surgery today in his 5th metatarsal. No timetable set, but, I can't imagine him being back before 2-3 months. So that's going to be tough.
I'm going to give this team the benefit of the doubt. Whenever they have a bad loss, they come back the next game and they find a way to win, and we have to do that. But what was disappointing about this one is I really feel like we could have. I give credit to Miami. We didn't play well, and it's just other than Noel and Rose, I mean, I can't really blame one person. I just think the whole team didn't play well. I didn't think Randle had it.
Yeah.
I mean, Randle needs to make his free throws.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been several games. I understand he came back, but I need all the free throws to be made because he's so good, and I take him for granted. But he's better than that. He's better than 5 for 8 from the line. We shot 12 for 20 from the free throw line. That's unacceptable. I agree with you. I thought Elf and Reggie killed us in the third quarter.
Yeah.
Reggie all of a sudden thought he was Michael Jordan.
Man.
And I was praising Reggie Bullock for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I was praising him. He's not Michael Jordan. You can't just do crazy things. Just play within yourself. And then, Burks didn't have it. Quickly was bad, too. And Quickly, I know he was trying to draw a foul there. And he probably did get fouled. But don't complain. Just get back on defense.
Yeah. It hurt us.
Get back.
It hurt us, man.
Nobody had a good game. But look, we got to give this team the benefit of the doubt. They've been terrific all year bouncing back. I'm not going to give up on them. Respect to the Heat. I wanted this one because if we have to play this team, you want to feel like you got one. But look, anything can happen this year. It's a weird year. They didn't have it. Shout out to Nerlens Noel. We need to get another body, man, because I can't afford to lose Noel, and then we got nothing.
In terms of the free throws, no excuse. But in terms of the play, the inconsistencies throughout the game, I don't think Randle, like CK said when he opened, it was 100%.
Yeah.
You can kind of see he wasn't all there.
Yeah.
Tell. Yeah.
You could easily tell. I don't know if that is going to go ahead and attribute to his, atrocities at the free throw line. But I think if you listen, one thing to do if you're going to be playing in the game, regardless of how you do it actually on the court, when you get to that line, just take the points. As simple as that. I understand that if you're not 100%, you can't, razzle dazzle the crowd like you normally do. But you got to at least make your free throws. You got to at least make those points. You got to at least contribute in that aspect because nobody's on you. Nobody's trying, to defend you. You don't have the pressures of it's literally just you and the basket and the ball. Like it's a real easy equation. So there's no excuse for that.
Now that the trade deadline is over, we can talk straight hoops. And right now, realistically, against Miami, we do not match up well against them at all because they trap everything. They trap everything, and they force you to shoot. And realistically, they got better shooters than us. So the only thing I could say about tonight's game and going forward is that I don't want to see them. I want to see maybe if we get to the playoff run, I want to see Charlotte. I want to see Boston. I want to see that because we're not gonna do well against Miami. I've seen this page too many times.
Yeah.
As far as tonight's game, the only thing I could say that's killing me is that I love Tibbs. Like, this is not a diss on Tibbs, but when they're trapping you and they're playing zone coach, you got to put some shooters on the floor, and you just got to experiment. And I know it's not his thing. This is who Tibbs is. This is who he's going to be. But you got to, you might have to force yourself to go small ball with Randle and put Knox, RJ, Bullock, IQ on the court.
You got to fight fire with fire, bro.
Everybody's having a knock about Boogie's personality and his persona. But you know what he does best? He stretches the floor. That's what we need. We don't need you to hit every shot that you make. You got to stretch the floor, and that helps. That gives you driving lanes. That gives you angles. RJ's not going to be able to do nothing against the Heat. And that's not because he's terrible. It's because his strength is getting to the lane. They're taking that away. Peyton cannot play. I'd rather see Frank, and I'm not a fan of Frank. He cannot play in a playoff series.
To DJ's point, I did agree with him, and Tibbs did try this. Remember the first matchup, and he leaves RJ on the bench for most of the fourth, and people were complaining, where's RJ? Because he was looking for shooting. Same thing in the second matchup, and RJ missed a lot of that fourth quarter in the second matchup. Did come back in for the last play of the game where he almost won it, or tied it. I forgot which one it was.
Yeah, he almost won it.
Almost won it. But it was because Tibbs was going with more shooters. So he had Burks, he had Bullock, he had IQ out there. So, again, this is something that you would like to see him go to earlier.
Yeah.
To try to combat the zone, because this is they should get used to it because they're going to see more of it, and if they make the playoffs, they're definitely going to see more of these coverages.